Chronic inflammation is at the root of almost every modern health struggle. And yet, most people are told to just take a pain medication and hope for the best. But here's the problem. Those are just Band-Aids, not real long-term solutions. And if you don't get to the root cause, you'll just keep collecting more and more symptoms while the inflammatory fire inside your body keeps burning. So, how do you finally stop the temporary fixes and actually resolve the issue? Today, I'm showing you a biological breakthrough that can increase your body's cellular cleanup crew by 400% and finally turn off your chronic inflammation for good. I'm Dr. Kate. I'm a functional medicine practitioner, and my mission is to help people get to the root of chronic illness instead of just chasing symptoms with another pill. We're going to break this down step by step today, starting with the difference between the inflammation that helps you and the inflammation that's making you sick. Most of us think of inflammation as a bad thing, but in its acute, properly controlled form, it's actually your best friend. If you cut your finger or catch a cold, your immune system rushes in to protect you. That's the inflammatory cascade doing its job. The problem happens when the fire never goes out. Normally, the inflammatory response should be limited. Your tissue should return to what we call homeostasis once you're healed. But when the process isn't regulated, inflammation lingers long after the injury or illness has passed. This is when it becomes chronic. And chronic inflammation doesn't always feel like pain. It often looks like a collection of symptoms that seem unrelated, but they are all connected to that same inflammatory fire. Are you feeling constant fatigue? Tired even after 8 hours of sleep? Do you have morning stiffness or joint aches that won't go away? Maybe it's digestive trouble, bloating, acid reflux, or frequent stomach issues. It can even show up as skin problems like eczema or recurring rashes. For others, the fire is in the brain. We call it brain fog, that fuzzy mental state where you can't focus or your memory feels off. It can even drive mood shifts like anxiety, depression, and irritability. If you feel like you're just collecting those symptoms one by one, your body is telling you that the inflammatory response is stuck. It's a sign that your body has lost its ability to return to balance. This brings us to the breakthrough, Resolvins. Resolvins are part of a family called SPMs, which stands for Specialized Pro-resolving Mediators. These tiny molecules are made by your body from omega-3 fatty acids. Resolvins represent a complete paradigm shift in how we look at the inflammatory response. So it's just as big of a deal as it sounds. Traditionally, to control inflammation, we usually try to block or suppress the immune system. Think about drugs like NSAIDs, ibuprofen, or aspirin. They work by blocking the initial inflammatory response. But research now suggests that NSAIDs can actually be resolution toxic. Because they block the start of the process, they can actually prevent the completion of the process too. While they may be great at blunting the symptoms of inflammation, they actually stop the body from ever reaching that healing phase. Resolvins don't block anything, and they don't suppress your immune system. Instead, they regulate and resolve. Think of it like this. If inflammation is the fire, conventional meds try to remove the flammable objects around it, blocking the spread. Resolvins are the firefighters who show up at the end to put out the embers, clean up all the debris, and signal the all clear for the builders to come in and fix everything that was damaged. One of the most incredible things Resolvins do is communicate with your macrophages. These are your immune system's cleanup crew. Studies show that Resolvins can increase the activity of these cells, their ability to eat up pathogens and dead cellular debris, by up to 400%. When you have enough Resolvins around, your body moves past the stuck phase of chronic inflammation and finally enters the healing phase. If this sounds too good to be true, you should know there are almost 2,000 papers in PubMed documenting what these mediators can do. Researchers all over the world are looking at resolution medicine as the future of healthcare. Let's look at some of that evidence and why it matters for your chronic inflammation. First, chronic pain and osteoarthritis. A major Resolvin study looked at patients with knee osteoarthritis. They found that sustained SPM supplementation significantly reduced pain and improved quality of life within just 8 to 12 weeks. Another study on adults with various types of chronic pain showed significant improvements in pain intensity, anxiety, and mood in as little as 4 weeks. Second, brain health. In my opinion, this is one of the most exciting areas of SPM research. In mouse models, researchers found that Resolvins actually stimulated the clearance of amyloid plaque in the brain. Researchers gave the mice a nasal dose of Resolvins, and the mice actually got their memory back. Resolvins also help tighten up our biological barriers, like the blood-brain barrier, which is vital for protecting your nervous system from both acute damage and slow degeneration. Third, eye health. There's strong evidence that Resolvins play a role in preventing macular degeneration, a very difficult condition to treat that leads to severe vision loss. Researchers found that when the retina is damaged, the body tries to upregulate resolvin receptors to protect itself. If we can support that pathway, we may be able to protect our vision as we age. As we speak, researchers are experimenting with resolvin-based eye drops. Fourth, cancer recovery and surgery. Conventional cancer therapy is often a double-edged sword. It kills tumor cells, but it creates tumor cell debris that can actually trigger more inflammation. Studies show that Resolvins can inhibit this debris-stimulated progression by helping the body clear out the trash more effectively. In fact, some research using mouse models suggests that taking Resolvins before cancer surgery can help eliminate micrometastasis and reduce the chance of the cancer recurring. It prevents the injury response of surgery from triggering new tumor growth. Fifth, organ protection and healing. Resolvins have been shown to improve bone regeneration, enhance wound healing, and even reduce the severity of lung injuries by clearing fluid and reducing tissue damage. They've even been shown in clinical trials to help control periodontal disease and gingivitis by tightening the oral barrier. It's one thing to see these results in a study, but it's another to experience them in your own body. This is why I only recommend one specific SPM formulation that matches the patented process used in these successful clinical trials. More on that in a minute. At this point, you might be thinking, can't I just eat more salmon or take some fish oil? While omega-3s are the building blocks of SPMs, there is a catch. Your body is supposed to make Resolvins on its own, but most of us aren't doing it effectively. First, about 90% of Americans are deficient in the base omega-3s to begin with. But even if you have enough omega-3s, you might lack the specific enzymes needed to switch them into these pro-resolving mediators. You might even have a genetic predisposition where your receptors don't recognize them correctly. Having excess body fat can also drive a deficiency in SPMs, creating a cycle where chronic inflammation leads to insulin resistance and cardiovascular disease, which then makes it even harder for the body to resolve the inflammation. And nearly 75% of adult Americans are overweight. This is why supplementation with actual SPMs can be so crucial when you have chronic inflammation. But you have to be careful. You're probably used to me telling you that all supplements are not created equal, but it's particularly important in the case of Resolvins. At the time of this recording, only one brand uses the specific SPMs made via a patented extraction process developed by Dr. Charles Sirhan. He's the original researcher who actually discovered these molecules. By the way, he was nominated for a Nobel Prize for this work. When his specific process was compared to other products, his SPMs produced 300% more bioactivity in those cleanup crew macrophages. If you want the results you see in the research, you have to use the form the researchers used. So, if you're ready to stop the Band-Aid fixes and start resolving the root of your inflammation, I've made it easy for you. I created a free fact sheet about the specific SPM supplement that I use with my clients, and take myself, that you can download via the link below. This is the exact product made with Dr. Sirhan's patented extraction process, the one that's 300% more bioactive than other options. You'll find a direct link to order it in the description as well, so you can take advantage of all the perks that my supplement dispensary offers. Simply sign up for a free FullScript account, and the link should take you right there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.